Every regulator says, implement effective AML controls. But what does that actually mean in system design? In this module, we'll translate high-level rules into concrete capabilities, data flows, and constraints that architects can build, monitor, and defend during audits. Treat AML not as a checkbox, but as a hard constraint that shapes your architecture. Your system has to run a continuous loop. First, detect suspicious activity with risk-based controls, not just static rules. Every event, attribute, and behavior is a signal. Next, mitigate that risk through dynamic orchestration. Adapt flows, insert steps, or throttle activity based on current risk. Finally, preserve evidence with cryptographic auditability, so you can prove what happened, when, and why to regulators and law enforcement. Every AML control you design ultimately stands on one thing: the quality of your verified digital identity. If the identity layer is weak, risk scoring is noisy, transaction monitoring generates useless alerts, and sanctions screening either misses true hits or overwhelms analysts with false positives. Think of KYC and identity proofing as the data plane that powers all downstream AML engines. Strengthen that foundation, and every other control becomes more accurate, explainable, and defensible to regulators. Risk-based diligence means we don't collect everything from everyone. We start with basic KYC, minimal attributes to identify the customer and support low-risk onboarding with low friction. When risk rises, we move into customer due diligence. The data model expands to capture occupation, anticipated activity, and source of funds. If risk remains high, we trigger enhanced due diligence, deeper ownership structures, cross-border flows, PEP exposure. Architecturally, each step widens the schema and workflows, driven by policy and real-time risk scores. When you design identity, eKYC, and AML systems, regulation isn't just background noise, it directly shapes the architecture. Globally, most rules converge on risk-based principles. Understand the customer, assess risk, monitor accordingly, and be able to prove it later. Regionally, the guidance becomes concrete and opinionated: where data must live, how long you store it, and how quickly you must file suspicious activity reports. Your design has to satisfy both layers at the same time. To turn FATF's risk-based approach into an actual system, think in 3 building blocks. First, configurable thresholds. Every rule and score needs parameters you can tune by country, product, and risk appetite without redeploying code. Second, layered controls. Combine KYC, sanction screening, and ongoing transaction monitoring so that weaknesses in one layer are caught by another. Third, algorithmic explainability. Every decision, whether from a human rule or an ML model, must be explainable and auditable, so you can justify why a customer was flagged or cleared. For eKYC and AML, normalized data models let you answer, what did we know about whom at this exact point in time? Instead of one big customer blob, you separate customers, accounts, devices, transactions, and UBO relationships into clean entities, then add a time or version layer. With slowly changing dimensions, you never overwrite history. You accumulate states. That's essential for as-of risk scoring, reconstructing investigations, and defending your decisions to regulators years later. In a production KYC and AML platform, you want components reacting to events, not polling each other. Every meaningful identity change and every transaction emits an event. Those events land on a shared bus, which becomes the contract between producers and consumers. The AML risk engine subscribes to exactly the streams it needs in real time. The audit subsystem does the same, persisting signed, immutable records. This event-driven pattern lets you evolve risk logic, add new consumers, and scale independently without rewriting the core flows. Reconstructive auditability means an auditor can rewind time and see exactly what the system believed when a decision was made. For every key moment, onboarding, a risky transaction, a later flag, you need cryptographically protected evidence of inputs, rules, models, and configuration. The goal isn't just a log entry. It's the ability to deterministically replay the decision and get the same outcome. Architecturally, think in terms of anchored snapshots of state plus tamper-evident event streams that connect those points over the customer's lifecycle. Retention strategy is really about placing each data type in the right quadrant of speed and mutability. Hot, updatable data is your live onboarding and servicing view. You optimize it for queries and frequent changes, not long-term history. Hot, immutable data feeds analytics and risk scoring. Events are append only so models and decisions can be trusted. Cold, updatable zones are where you soft delete or anonymize to satisfy GDPR and data minimization. Cold, immutable storage is your warm AML archive, built to prove nothing was altered years later. Suspicious activity reporting is essentially a specialized pipeline on top of your monitoring system. A risk alert is first promoted into a triage queue, where rules or analysts decide whether it's SA-worthy. Confirmed alerts are pushed into case management, which enriches them with KYC data, history, and contextual evidence. From there, a SAR generator assembles the report in the regulator's required schema and pushes it via secure APIs. Architecturally, you want to automate as much as possible while still guaranteeing deadlines, completeness, and auditability. You can think of this as your end-to-end trust fabric. Verified identities emit events. Instead of pushing those directly into point solutions, everything flows through a shared event bus. That bus fans out to your risk engine, which scores behavior and drives decisions, and to your operational stores that hold working data. In parallel, the same events are condensed into cryptographically linked audit records. Those hashes give you tamper-evident proof of what was known, decided, and done at any moment in time. Everything you design should start from a strong, well-governed identity model. Then make the system policy-driven so you can adapt quickly to different jurisdictions and regulatory changes. Build cryptographic auditability into every critical decision and data flow. Finally, maintain end-to-end data lineage so any risk or AML decision can be fully reconstructed and explained.